Now let's discuss the moon in Cancer. And to understand the moon in Cancer, we'll use the same exact technique that we've been using to understand any planet and any sign. We're going to be looking for resonance between what the planet symbolizes and what the sign symbolizes. Actually, moon in Cancer is a difficult thing to explain and understand because it doesn't really lend itself to words so well. It doesn't expose itself to the eye so much. It's the very nature of the moon in Cancer. Now, Cancer is the portion of the zodiac that belongs to the moon. So as you may foresee, just as your house, which belongs to you, is pretty much set up the way you want it, you're not going to find a lot of dissonant resonance between Cancer and the moon. You're mostly going to find harmonious resonance. Let's take a look at what those resonances specifically are. To start off with, you have a very good basic fundamental harmony between the moon and Cancer because the moon is feminine and Cancer is feminine. So you can expect good feminine traits in a person who has the moon in Cancer, which means they're good looking. And they probably have good kapha, as we say in Ayurveda, which basically means they have good health, and specifically it means that their tissue production is strong. So they have healthy fat and good lubrication, like their body is moisturized and fatty in a healthy way. Also, they're fertile, with the feminine qualities being good. You expect the person to be fertile, procreative, but also it means procreative, like they have fertile creativity. Much of the rest of the resonance between the moon and Cancer is based on permutations of this basic feminine harmony, but let's explore some of it. The next thing to look at is that the moon is a private or shy nighttime planet, an inward planet, an inner mental planet, and the Cancer is also a private, shy, inward sign because it's water with the moon. So here we have a harmony between the planet being an internal force and the sign also being an internal force. So some of the things you can expect from a person with the moon in Cancer is that they're probably deep. In other words, they're probably internally significant. They're probably aware of their internal affairs. They're probably aware of other people's internal affairs. The moon in Cancer has a kind of strength to it, which is a feminine or an inner strength, internally strong. It has a lot of confidence to it. It doesn't need to really extrovert. It's confidence, but it has a quiet type of confidence, an assuredness to it. Cancer moon people, they value secrets or they value privacy. So they're trustworthy with secrets, not having an exhibitionist tendency which gets people into trouble. A further permutation of the privacy nature of both Cancer and the moon is that they both have to do with private spaces or domestic spaces. And this harmony between the domestic nature of both the moon and Cancer indicates good fortune with domestic things. So I would describe moon and Cancer people as nest builders, in that they value having a domestic space. So they will take the time to make a home or to make something feel homey or to make something comfortable. I would also describe this domestic harmony as producing a nurturing type of a person. So a person who creates a domestic space is a nurturing or a mothery type of person. So moon and Cancer people tend to nurture things, and that's how they bring their goals to fruition, actually, is by nurturing. And that brings up one further harmony between the moon and Cancer, which I would like to bring out before we close this video, and it's that both the moon and Cancer are highly emotional. So this harmony between the two suggests a lot of things about this whole strand of meaning in the moon, this subjectivity, opinion, desire, everything that leads to emotion is very strong with the moon in Cancer. There's strong subjectivity. There's strong opinions. There's strong desire, but it's not Mars or martial or testosterone-y desire, which is deep and abiding and not as explosive or showy. So moon in Cancer in a chart, you can expect that native to have strong convictions, deep convictions, abiding convictions, and then that leads to deep desires, abiding desires, and that leads to deep, strong emotions, and that leads to success. The way that they move to their success also is in a moonish type of way, which has a tempo to it. They make rhythmic progress. They never give up. The moon in Cancer indicates a person that doesn't give up on their desires, but not in a Saturn-y way, in a way of they always keep coming back to nurture and move forward. So they have a sort of rhythmic tempo to their progress. But they progress because they have deep conviction in their objectives. And the feelings of a moon in Cancer person, moon in Cancer person is going to have very deep, strong feelings and everything, but they're going to simultaneously be what I would call secluded feelings, deep and secluded. Therefore, moon in Cancer people are often overlooked or misunderstood because they don't show themselves so much. Now, are there any dissonances between the moon and Cancer? Not really. And that's very, very much what you should expect from a planet in its own sign. But I do want to bring up one point. Is that when you put a planet in its own sign, then essentially what you're doing is putting a lot of symbolic eggs in one basket in the chart. You'll be putting the house, for example, whatever house that sign creates, the house and the lord of the house will be in the same place. And then whatever things are symbolized by the planet are also significantly symbolized by the sign the planet owns. So you're putting all that symbolism in one place in a chart. So although having a planet in its own sign is on its own theoretically a very good thing, it's also kind of risky. It's like putting all of your eggs in one basket. The riskiness is that if that planet has aspects and conjunctions or other things that are difficult, then so many things related to what that planet symbolizes get affected at the same time. The house, the lord of the house, the planet that symbolizes the thing, the house that and sign that symbolize the thing. So although there's no real downside to having the moon in Cancer, the one thing that you have to look at in a chart, in a specific chart, is if this moon is afflicted, it's going to have more of an effect. And that's a basic principle that's true for every planet in its own sign. So that also segues into the way I like to end every one of these planet and sign videos, is that I'm explaining to you the theoretical interpretation of the moon in Cancer in isolation from everything else. And that's very worthwhile because you have to learn things that way. You have to learn what each part represents before you understand what the whole machine represents, the conglomeration of all the parts together. But do be aware that when you are talking about a real person with a real chart, you're talking about a whole combination of parts, of which the moon in Cancer may be one. So always think about what things are affecting the moon besides the fact that it's in this particular sign. And that's going to modify and bend the basic things that we talked about today in this video. But the basic things that we've talked about today in this video are always going to be the key foundational things that are either going well or not so well when the moon is in Cancer. And on its own, it tends to go well.